Hello, friends. My name is Julie Merrill, and I want to introduce myself to you. I am a faith-based life coach. I decided a few weeks ago that I wanted to put together a YouTube channel, working with some of my clients and just some of my own experiences. I have come upon some truths that have really helped me, some new insights of how I deal with life, how I process things, how I learn about who I am, and how that's benefited me in moving forward and in progression. And I have the best clients that I consider my friends, and I learn a lot as we discuss and as we learn together. And what I hear a lot from my clients is, why doesn't anyone teach this? How come I didn't know? Why doesn't anyone explain it the way you do? So the more I heard that, the more I thought, you know what? I would like to put something together that I can just teach, allow you to consider the truths that I've learned and see if it can benefit you in your life in some way. So I'm sure they're going to get a little bit more professional, or I'll get better at this as time goes on. But I've been kind of stalling because I wanted to understand how to do it. I wanted to do it right. I wanted it to be professional. And today I just decided there's too much going on in the world. There's too much chaos. There's too much darkness. If I can benefit anyone in any way, I would like to do that and not worry about how perfect it is or how professional it looks. Just get it out there. So today's the day I'm going to do my first video. As I pondered and thought about what I wanted to do, something that's really important to me as I was on my learning journey. Let me give you a little bit of a background, just a little bit about me. Like I said, I am a faith-based life coach. I am also trained to train life coaches. I've been a life coach now, coming up on 3 years, and I have my own business. It's called ascendingmentoring.com. If I learn how to add that to the comments, I will. Like I said, I'm a novice at this. On my website, I do have courses that you can purchase that go in depth into some of the concepts I'm sure I'll be talking about on this YouTube channel. And you're welcome to check those out if you think that that's something that will benefit you. I also do see clients on Zoom calls or in my home. But I'm not here to get business. I'm here to share what I know. I'm a mother of 7 and a grandmother of 4, and because it is faith-based, you can guess that I am a religious person. I am a Christian, and I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'm imagining, as I come up with concepts and ideas and truths that I want to share, I am sure, because it is who I am and it's very much a part of me, I will use what I know to be true based on my religion and my theology, and probably use some scriptures or some quotes from leaders. But this isn't about gospel discussion, or I'm not here to preach or be a pastor or minister to anyone. I'm just here to share what I have learned through my life and through my 3 years of coaching people, and how I know it's benefited those that I've taught and how it's definitely benefited me. And I guess today the first thing I want to talk about would be your thoughts. Now, I've learned that there are more or less 2 kinds of people. Those that are in their head and they're constantly evaluating, they're constantly reflecting upon, they're constantly analyzing thought. And that's really their most prevalent experience, is thought. Now, then there are the other type, and I happen to fall into that category, and it's feeling. And they're constantly experiencing feelings, Sometimes you get stuck in a feeling, sometimes they come and go, there's ebbs and waves. There's all kinds of ways you can experience feeling. Now, what I've learned in my studies and in my experience is to define both of these maybe a little differently than what you've heard. First of all, thoughts and feelings are always connected. You can't have an emotion or a feeling without first having a thought. And you cannot be in a thought without having a feeling attached to it or an emotion. So the one thing I wanted to maybe give you new insight to have you consider is that all thoughts, all feelings or emotions are literally energy in motion. So when you have a thought, whatever it is, whether you want to call it a good thought or a bad thought, a false thought or a true thought, it doesn't matter. There's energy attached to that. And we can't see it, but oftentimes we feel it. Even if other people are thinking something and they're not vocalizing a single thing, we can feel from them maybe where they're at. And it comes from a thought. That is the same with feelings or emotions, energy in motion. That's literally what I have come to understand that is. And they are always connected. You cannot separate a thought from the feeling or emotion, or the feeling and emotion from a thought. So once I understood this, and I asked questions about, okay, what do I do with this information? How is this going to benefit me? I would ask you to consider this. If we were to go in the broadest terms of, let's say, two environments, two worlds, and let's call this energy, okay, this emotion or energy that comes from our thoughts, either high vibration or low vibration. So the frequency between, okay, frequency would be the up and down of this energy moving. The frequency between the up and down, a high vibration would be very close together and very stacked. The energy or frequencies, if you were to see them on a picture, they'd be very stacked and close together. A low vibration would be slower, and the hills and valleys would be further apart, okay? So when I talk about frequency, that's what I'm talking about. When I talk about a high vibration, then the frequency, right, is going to be closer. All right, those vibrations are going to be closer together, and a low vibration, they're going to be further apart, and it's going to be a slower. If, like I said, consider this. If thoughts and emotions are really just energy in motion, and that energy can fluctuate in frequencies, high and low, right? I would like you to consider that any thought or any energy or any emotion wouldn't necessarily be good or bad. It just is energy. Now, with that being said, when you're in low vibrational energy, we usually don't feel good. Where there's usually discord, there's usually uncomfortable. It's usually coupled with emotions that we would consider quote unquote bad. Hate, anger, guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, depression, go on and on and on. All of those emotions, remember energy and motion, are of a low vibration. I want you to consider the opposite. Any emotion that we would consider quote unquote good, peace, contentment, joy, hope, faith, excitement, emotional clarity, love, any of those, all of those energies or frequencies are of a high vibration. So I like to talk about them as low vibration and high vibration. If you were to put it in theology terms, we can talk about enmity, or a lot of philosophers, when you talk to them about the root of all evil or the root of all sin, they would say is pride. So you could put it in a pride world or a pride realm or a pride energy. So you'll hear me talk about either that's a pride energy or an energy in enmity. Or I like to talk about it in an energy of charity, which is opposite of pride. And that encompasses all high vibrational energies. So if you were to take it in the simplest form and put them in two different worlds or two different realms, literally to just make it easy, once you understand or you have the experience of, kind of slowing down your thought process and thinking, what was it that I just felt? Or what was it that I just thought? Depending on what type of a person you lean towards, either emotional comes first or thoughts come first. And you can just take a step back and think about that, analyze that, question that, be in the moment and feel that. And then you can distinguish, okay, that's in the pride realm or the enmity realm. That's a low vibration. All right, well, that's in the charity realm. That's a high vibration. And no judgment, just identify. Then you get to make a choice. Do I want to stay in that energy? Do I appreciate it? Does it feel comfortable? Do I like it? Or do I want to change and move that energy to a high vibration? Usually the lower energies, the low vibrations are going to be uncomfortable, or we don't like them, or it's not enjoyable. And usually the human condition wants to be in a high vibration and feel those higher vibrational energies. Well, if you can understand that cycle a little bit, I want you to consider that this all starts with a thought. Okay, if there is a cycle, I want you to think of the infinity sign, right? That laying down 8, figure 8. I want you to think of an infinity sign where it's looping, looping, looping. Now, if there was a point 1, I want you to consider that as your thought, and then it comes down to an emotion or a feeling that's always, always connected to a thought, and that will come up to an action. Okay, well, if I'm thinking this and feeling this, I'm going to do this. And that comes down to an experience or a result, which gives us another thought. And we're back in that loop, which connects to an emotion. We do something, there's an action, it creates an experience, and then we back to a thought. I want you to think of that as a possibility of what we're experiencing. Just consider that. If that is accurate or close to what we can experience, or gives you a little bit more of a visual, right, of what you are experiencing, I want you to consider the superpower in all of that is choice. It's your agency. So once you can go to a place of understanding and awareness, recognize it. Okay, I am in this emotion. And it is pride. It's in the pride realm. It's enmity. It feels uncomfortable. I don't like it. It depresses me. It causes me great anxiety or fear. I feel really doubtful or uncertain, whatever it is. Then you can backtrack that to, well, what was I just thinking? What was just going on in my mind? And then you can challenge that. Do I choose to believe it? Do I choose to stay in that emotion? Now, I'm going to talk from personal experience. For me, my experience was, like I said, I'm more of an emotional person. I kind of experience life through my emotions first, and then I kind of come backtrack to what I was thinking. So my personal experience was this. I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I don't like the way I feel. And I would be like, ugh, I want to get rid of this, or I want to get out of this, or I feel stuck in this. What do I do? Because I was in this emotional experience first. When I understood that that was attached to a thought, then I could start taking control or using intentional choice to change. But you'll have to understand, in that process, I was aware of an emotion or a frequency, right? Or I was in the pride or enmity realm, and I didn't like it. And what did I do? I said, I don't like this. I want to change. I used my choice to try to create something different. Now, in the beginning, I didn't know, well, how do I create this? How do I change this? How do I transform it? How do I evolve from something different? How do I create something new? And I would get a little frustrated with people saying, well, you just have to, be grateful. Or you just have to think of something different. Or you just have to, right? That was hard because I would get stuck. I would really get stuck in this space. And it seemed like just flipping a switch wasn't going to do it for me. So let me tell you my experience. Again, I was more of the emotional. This will also work with if you're more of the analytical and you're more in your head. So what I did was I recognized I had a choice. That was the first thing I did. That shifts the power from being acted upon and being stuck in an experience to making a choice. It literally halts the energy, and now you have the power, or you are empowered to create something different. So once I realized, okay, I don't have to stay here. If I'm not comfortable, if I'm not happy, if I'm not feeling, if there's discord, right? I don't have to stay here. I can make a choice. And then I'll teach you what I learned and the simplest way to do that. The thing that helped me was, and again, if you're in your mind or you're more analytical and you can't get out of your mind and you're just too in your head, it's the same thing. You can do the same thing. I would take one big deep breath and let it out. So when I say a deep breath, I'm talking about you inhale for the count of at least 4, hold it for a couple of seconds, and exhale. So it looks like this. And I would do that 3 times. Now let me tell you what happens biologically when you do that. It literally will slow your heartbeat down if it's racing. If there's some panic or anxiety, that slows the heartbeat down. Secondly, it allows more oxygen, right? You're getting more oxygen into your lungs. The oxygen's going throughout your body. It creates a connection to your frontal lobe, which is your thinking, analyzing center, okay? So now you literally are back to your reasoning center. So you take those 3 deep breaths, and this was the little script that I gave myself. Okay, I recognize in this moment, I am a student, and I'm just learning. So maybe what I was feeling, 7 kids, all at home, busy lifestyle, maybe feeling overwhelmed, maybe frustrated, maybe I was anxious about something, okay? I would recognize those emotions. I would take those 3 deep breaths, literally calming myself down on a biological level, reconnecting to my frontal lobe so that I can reason and think things through. And on a theological level, when you think about breath, it allows you to connect with the spirit. So now there is divine inspiration that you are choosing to connect to. Now think about how powerful that is. So after those 3 deep breaths, I would say this little mantra. I recognize in this moment I'm a student. I am just learning. So no longer did I feel like I was a victim. No longer did I feel like I was surviving through something. No longer did I feel like I had no control. I put myself in a neutral space of a student who is learning. Then I would say this phrase, which is probably the most important phrase of this. I am so grateful that I'm learning. So now whatever it was I was feeling, if I was angry, if I felt alone, if I felt fear, if I felt overwhelmed or frustrated or depressed or whatever it was I was feeling, I have now shifted into gratitude. And how did I do that? I chose. I used my agency to take back some power and to go through this little mantra. So I just stayed in gratitude that I was learning. That's it. The whole world could have been falling down around me, but I was grateful in that moment. I had stopped this cycle, right? Here I was, right over here, maybe feeling overwhelmed. So I was probably what I thought, right, was I can't do this. I don't have enough time in the day and my kids are crazy and I can't, right? So I had all these thoughts and that caused overwhelm, which caused me to act out in frustration, maybe lack of patience, maybe, I don't know, what that was, right? But this action was not conducive to a happy lifestyle, which created an experience that I did not like, which created, I never have enough help. Nobody understands me, which caused maybe anger, which caused me to act out. Do you see how this happened so quickly? Well, the minute I chose to take 3 deep breaths and I told myself, look, I'm a student and I'm learning and I'm so grateful I'm learning. What just happened? This that was going in a negative or uncomfortable enmity or pride energy stopped. and I would put myself into a neutral thought. I'm a student. I'm learning. And I'm grateful for that. And now I'm in the charity realm, or a high vibrational energy of gratitude. And I'm also thinking straight. And now I can choose the action that I want that resonates with gratitude. And depending on what the situation was, what I was experiencing, anything, maybe at that moment when I was feeling overwhelmed and frustrated at my day or my kids or my chores to do or whatever, now that I've stopped that and I'm literally feeling gratitude, maybe what I wanted to do is find a kid and hug them. Maybe I wanted to continue my vacuuming and think, man, I'm so grateful for this carpet. Maybe I was in the middle of finishing a project or had some responsibilities that people were expecting me to finish. And I thought, wow, I'm grateful for the ability to serve, or my intellect, or that I have this information that I'm learning. Whatever it is, when you can take those 3 deep breaths, neutralize yourself from a victim or a survivor, and put yourself in this beautiful experience of a student who's learning and be grateful for that, then I would choose. I am so grateful that I am learning. And once again, because I was an emotional creature, that's where I would feel things first and then think second. I choose to feel. That would be my next statement. And then I would just choose an emotion that was high vibrational and in the realm or world of charity. So sometimes it was just, I'm choosing to be grateful. Sometimes it was, I'm choosing to feel calm. Sometimes it was, I'm choosing to be excited. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing forgiveness. I'm choosing to give myself grace. I'm choosing, you pick it. And always what happened for me was, once I wanted to feel a different emotion, then the thought came that resonated with that emotion. So let's say I was overwhelmed again, right? And the kids were crazy and I felt like I was not getting any help and no one understood me and I was all alone, all of that I just kind of talked about. And I took those 3 deep breaths and I decided I was going to be a student and I was going to be learning, and I was grateful for that. The next emotion I would have chosen, maybe I want to stay grateful. I choose to just be grateful. The next thing would have been, I am so grateful to have these kids. I love being their mother. I am so grateful for their hugs. And I just would have gone to the next thought and the next thought and the next thought. And this, which goes without us really even being aware of it, is still going, but now it's full of high vibrational energy and thought. It stays in the realm of charity. And what created that shift? Did my children change? Did my environment change? Did my responsibilities change? No. I used the power of agency. I chose to use a tool. I chose a different emotion, and I chose a different thought that resonated with that emotion. Now, if we were to flip it the other way, and you're more in your head, and you're thinking, and you're just stuck in this loop of low vibrational thought. We're not going to call it negative. It's a low vibrational thought. Because when you start putting that title to it, then you can start judging it. And we're going to talk about judging in another video. When you can be in your head and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just in my head. I feel paralyzed, or I feel stuck, or I feel whatever that is. Then you stop and you say, wait a minute, let's challenge that thought. Does nobody really care about me? Am I really alone? Is that God's truth? And that's how you challenge thought, is you ask, is that God's truth? If God was here standing next to me, would he testify or teach me in that way? Nobody cares about you and you are all alone, Julie. No. So then I would challenge that. And I would say, well, I choose to know what God would say to me. And then you're open for that thought. And when you're in a place of gratitude, remember, I am a student, I am learning, I am grateful, I am learning, and you've shifted your feeling to gratitude, you are now open to receive like energy. And truth and light are always high vibrational energy, like gratitude. When we're stuck in something that's of a low vibration, and we want to know or understand or feel, and we're just, not doing anything to allow that in, those two have a hard time harmonizing with each other. But when we choose to either challenge the thought or shift the emotion, or both, if we're that aware that that's what's going on, hey, I'm thinking this and I'm feeling that, I want to choose something different, and we let that go and we choose first to go to gratitude, then the next emotion or thought will harmonize or be in resonance with that high vibrational energy of gratitude. So you literally are inviting truth in, you're inviting light in, but it came from your powerful experience of choice or agency. So I want you to consider this. What I would invite you to do, if you're interested in seeing if this will work for you, is take 3 days. And throughout your 3 days, whenever you are either thinking or feeling something of a low vibration, something that's an enmity or pride, usually it's uncomfortable, you don't like it, right? Causes you stress. Take those 3 deep breaths and say that little mantra. I recognize in this moment I'm a student. I am so grateful I'm learning. I choose, and then choose an emotion or choose to know God's truth. But remember, for me, that one step of, I am so grateful that I am learning. I needed to stay in gratitude, but literally for just seconds. I needed to stay in gratitude for like 3 to 5 seconds. Now, I just want you to experience what that feels like, the 3 to 5 seconds. So for right now, just take a deep breath, and I want you to say out loud, I am so grateful that I am learning. And just stay in that emotion. That's it. That was 5 seconds. So this can be done really quickly, and it can shift really quickly. And the more you practice this, the more you'll be aware of when your thoughts or emotions shift into enmity or pride, and the more you will appreciate what it feels like when you get into gratitude. And the best part of that is, on a biological level, you're training your body to not be comfortable in stress or anger or fear or any of those low vibrational emotions. If you were anything like me, that's where I lived most of the time. I was just in survival mode, or I felt like I was always the victim. When you start practicing this, your body will start craving or looking for high vibrational thoughts, emotions, and experiences. And you'll start to change that pattern very, very quickly. But for the first 3 days, it's going to take some real intentional awareness and thought and choice, agency. So I want you to consider that. I invite you to try that and see what happens. See what your experiences are. And be looking for more videos with little tidbits like this. I should say they're more than tidbits, with these truths.